9.5 is addition, subtraction, and complex fractions. We are just going to do addition and subtraction today. Okay. So, yes, or on the last lesson we did multiplication, division. I think we got pretty good at that. The biggest thing when you're doing fractions, why can I not add those two together as is? I don't have a common denominator. And that's what's going to make the section challenging, is you're going to have to find a common denominator. Okay, so right here it would be what? 35. So you would multiply the top and the bottom by, and the top and the bottom by. So you actually have 21 over 35 plus 30 over 35 for a total of 51 over 35. Right? The other thing you got to make sure is when you get to the common denominator, you don't take 35 plus 35 for 70, right? Yeah, you don't do that. That's bad. Don't do that. That's bad news. Okay. So, the first couple we just have, we already have a common denominator. So if I have 3 over 2x minus 7 over 2x, what is this? Negative 4 over 2x. Again, not bad if the denominator is already the same for us. The next one, I have 3x over x minus 4 plus 6x over x minus 4. Do I already have a common denominator? Yes. Yeah, so it's not an issue. Can I combine 3x and 6x? Yes. For a total of? And you're done. Okay? It's going to be fairly simple, I think, for you when the denominator is already the same on both of them. Okay, the challenge comes in example 2 when that's not the case. Okay, so let's take a look at example 2. I'll do that exact one, and then we'll do another one. So what they give us 5 over 6x squared plus x over 4x squared minus 12x. Okay, pretty obvious the denominators are not the same, right? So what we have to try to do first is figure out, okay, what is the common denominator? Now before you do any of that, you need to factor everything. Okay? So on top I still have 5. Can I factor this? No, so I have 6x squared plus x over, what is this factored to though? 4x times x minus 3, right? So I took a 4x out of both sides, or both of these. Okay, so now I have this factor. Now I have to try to find my common denominator. Again, this is the challenging part of this lesson. Obviously, this x minus 3, there isn't one over here, right? Okay, so I'm going to need that. Okay, but then I got to find what's common between 6x squared and 4x. What can I change both of those to? I can't go down. When you're finding common denominators, everything has to go up or stay the same. 12x what? Squared. I can't change that x squared into an x. I'm going to have to change that x into an x squared. So I have 12x squared. I'm also still going to need this x minus 3. Okay, because it's over here, but it's not over here. Okay, so if I just put it on both sides, then I'll have that. So I'm going to have this as my common denominator. So I have to look at this. What do I need over here to get that denominator? Well, to the 6x squared to a 12x squared, I need just a 2. And I need my x minus 3. But if I did it to the bottom, just like up when we did a regular fraction, I got to do it to the top. Okay. Now I have to come over to this other side. What do I need to make this 4x into a 12x squared? I need a 3x. I already have my x minus 3, so I don't need that, correct? If I did it to the bottom, I got to do it to the top. Okay. So now I can start simplifying this out a little bit. 5 times 2 is 10 times x, 10x. 5 times 2 is 10 times negative 3. Negative 30. Over, this should all come out to be what? It should come out to be my common denominator, which is 12x squared times x minus 3. Does it? Okay. Plus, this comes out to be over now, one of our common things, or a common mistake here, is people look at this and they're like, well, I want to factor that, and I have a 10, and then I can reduce my 10 and my 12. You don't want to do that, because once you reduce your 10 and your 12, now you don't have a common denominator anymore. You guys get what I'm talking about? Okay, so you don't want to reduce anything until the very end. So now, when I add things, can I combine this 3x squared with either of these? No, so I just need to write it as 3x squared plus 10x minus 30. So that's what I have on top. On the bottom I have 12x squared x minus 3. Now if possible, maybe you could factor out and reduce, but is there anything I can take out of both of these, or all three of these? No. And if you multiply here, you get negative 90, which you can't get to add to 10. Okay, so in this case, you would be done. Okay, so you can see why that's going to be a little bit more challenging than multiplying. Because you still have to factor, but now you have to worry about a common denominator as well. Okay, so let's try another one here. I have, I don't like that. It's basically the same thing. Let's do it anyways. 4 over 3x cubed plus x over 6x cubed plus 3x squared. Okay, so what was our first step? Break stuff down. Let's get it all factored out first. I can't do anything here, right? So I have 4 over 3x cubed. I'm giving myself a little bit more space because I know I'm going to have to put some extra things in here. Over, or plus, excuse me, x over, what can I take out of both of these? 3x squared, which I'm left with 2x plus 1. Okay. Now, I got to figure out what is my common denominator. Okay. Well, looking at what I have on the outside of the parentheses, this can't get any smaller, right? So I have to change this into that, which would take in an x, and it would end up as 3x cubed, right? Okay. And then I'm also going to need a 2x plus 1. Okay. So to change this into what I have up there, what am I missing? my 2x plus 1 on top and the bottom. Over here I already have my 2x plus 1, but what do I need to change this into that? Just an x. Good. Okay. So here I get 8x plus 4 over 3x cubed times 2x plus 1 plus x squared over 3x cubed times 2x plus 1. And now I can combine this, so my final is going to look like over 3x cubed times 2x plus 1. Double check that if it factors. Multiplies the 4, adds to 8. Nothing. So we're done. Okay, we still got a couple more examples. How are we doing? It's more challenging than yesterday, though, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at a subtraction. Now, subtraction is actually just addition, right? But it's adding negative. Okay, so it's the same process. You still have to have a common denominator. So I have x plus 1 over x squared plus 4x plus 4 minus 2 over x squared minus 4. Okay, do anything to the top? Can I do something to the bottom?
Yes.
Okay, so I have x plus 1 on top. The bottom factors to what? Okay, because it multiplies the 4, adds the 4. I'm going to write it as x plus 2, x plus 2. Just that way I can really see what I'm looking at. Okay? Okay. That's lazy, Mitch. Okay. Either way, minus 2 over x plus 2, x minus 2. Okay. Things like these, to me, are actually easier than what we just did, because I can look here. Okay, I definitely need 2x plus 2's, right? So in my common denominator, I definitely need x plus 2, x plus 2. And that already has 1, so I know that's going to need another one. But I'm also going to need an x minus 2. So that's my common denominator. Okay, so what is this missing? So I need an x minus 2 over here. And this one on this side is missing an x plus 2. Okay, so personally, I think this one's a little bit easier. On the top, you want to go ahead and FOIL everything out. Okay, so on the top, I get x squared minus x minus 2 over x plus 2. I'll write it like Mitch did now. Since it's already done, I have everything. Minus 2x plus 4 over x plus 2 squared, x minus 2. And this is where you have to be careful and where it catches people. I'm subtracting. Okay, so it's x squared, because there's no x squareds, but then it's negative x minus 2x. So minus 3x, and then it's negative 2 minus 4, minus 6. And then you just fill in your denominator. Okay, so just be careful with that subtraction sign. The process is entirely the same. until you get to right there, and you're trying to subtract things. Okay. Okay. Are there any questions before I have you work on a few problems by yourself? Okay. You're going to have to work through this carefully, because if you don't get the right common denominator, okay, then you're obviously not going to be able to get to the proper answer. We are going to add on to this tomorrow. There is some things on here. I'm skipping forward in this because I'm skipping the easy ones is what I'm doing. If they already have a common denominator, I think you can probably handle them. So I'm not going to assign those to you. I'm not going to sit here and make you find the least common denominator, because if you find the least common denominator in the problems you're doing anyways, then you're already doing that. So what I have is I'm going to start you off on number 26 and go through 37.